We are reading The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by Frank L. Baum. We are on Chapter 9. The Wonderful Emerald City of Oz. Even with the green glasses, Dorothy and her friends were at first dazzled by the wonderful city. All the beautiful houses glittered with emeralds, and the road was of shiny green marble. There were many people going to and fro between sparkly shops for green candy, green shoes, green hats, and green clothes. See how the city, that's how the city looked. And then over here is another place we're going to hear about. So they were all shopping for green stuff. The guardian of the gates led them through the streets until they came to a big building, exactly in the middle of the city, which was the Palace of Oz, the Great Wizard. There was a soldier before the door, dressed in a green uniform and wearing a long green beard. "Here are strangers," said the guardian of the gates to him, "and they demand to see the Great Oz." "Step inside," answered the soldier, "and I will carry your message to him." So they passed through the palace gates and were led into a big room with a green carpet and lovely green furniture set with emeralds. The soldier made them all wipe their feet upon the green mat before entering this room. And when they were seated, he said politely, "Please make yourselves comfortable while I go to the door of the throne room and tell Oz you are here." They had to wait a long time before the soldier returned. When at last he came back, Dorothy asked, "Have you seen Oz?" "Oh, no," returned the soldier. "I have never seen him, but I spoke to him as he sat behind a screen and gave him your message. He said he will grant you an audience if you so desire, but you must wait until tomorrow to enter his presence. Therefore, as you must remain in the palace, I will have you shown to rooms where you may rest in comfort after your journey." "Thank you," replied the girl. "That is very kind of Oz." The soldier now blew on his green whistle, and at once a young girl dressed in a pretty green silk gown entered the room. She had lovely green hair and green eyes, and she bowed low before Dorothy as she said, "Follow me, and I will show you to your room." See this girl that came in? The girl is telling Dorothy to follow her so she can go to a room. The next morning after breakfast, the Green Maiden came to fetch Dorothy and dressed her in one of the prettiest gowns made of green satin. Dorothy put on a green silk apron and tied a green ribbon around Toto's neck, and they started for the throne room of the Great Oz. They waited in a great hall until a bell rang. The green girl said to Dorothy, "That is the signal. You must go into the throne room alone." See, before they went in there, Dorothy had tied a green bow around Toto's neck. Because Toto can't wear clothes. He's a puppy. She opened a little door, and Dorothy walked boldly through and found herself in a wonderful place. It was a big, round room with a high arched roof, and the walls and ceiling and floor were covered with large emeralds set closely together. In the center of the roof was a great light, as bright as the sun, which made the emeralds sparkle in a wonderful manner. But what interested Dorothy most was the big throne of green marble that stood in the middle of the room. It was shaped like a chair and sparkled with gems, as did everything else. I have a dry tickle. In the center of the chair was an enormous head without a body to support it or any arms or legs whatsoever. There was no hair upon his head, but it had eyes and a nose and mouth, and was much bigger than the head of the biggest giant. As Dorothy gazed upon this in wonder and fear, she heard a voice say, "I am Oz, the great and terrible. Who are you, and why do you seek me?" It was not such an awful voice as she had expected to come from the big head, so she took courage and answered, "I am Dorothy, the small and meek. I have come to ask for your help." And look, here's Dorothy, and look at that great big old head, and that's Oz. He's really big next to her. The eyes looked at her thoughtfully for a full minute. Then said the voice, "Where did you get silver shoes?" "I got them from the Wicked Witch of the East when my house fell on her and killed her," she replied. "Where did you get that mark upon your forehead?" continued the voice. And see who she's talking to, the great Wizard of Oz? "That is where the good witch of the North kissed me when she said goodbye and sent me to you," said the girl. Again the eyes looked at her sharply, and they saw she was telling the truth. Then Oz asked, "What do you wish me to do?" "Send me back to Kansas, where my Aunt Em and Uncle Henry are," she answered earnestly. "Why should I do this for you?" asked Oz. "Because you are strong and I am weak. Because you are a great wizard and I am only a little girl." "But you are strong enough to kill the Wicked Witch of the East," said Oz. "That just happened," returned Dorothy. "I could not help it." "Well," said the head, "I will give you my answer. You have no right to expect me to send you back to Kansas unless you do something for me in return. Help me and I will help you." "What must I do?" asked the girl. "Kill the Wicked Witch of the West," answered Oz. "But I cannot!" exclaimed Dorothy in great surprise. "You killed the Witch of the East, and you wear the silver shoes, which bear a powerful charm. There is now but one Wicked Witch left in all this land, and when you can tell me she is dead, I will send you back to Kansas, but not before." Sorrowfully, Dorothy left the throne room and went back where her friends were waiting to hear what Oz said to her. "There is no hope for me," she said sadly, "for Oz will not send me home until I have killed the Wicked Witch of the West, and that I can never do." Next, the soldier with the green whiskers came to the Scarecrow, the Tin Woodman, and the Lion, and said, "Come with me, for Oz has sent for you." So they followed him and were admitted into the great throne room, where they were surprised to find that before the throne was a ball of fire, so fierce and glowing they could scarcely bear to gaze upon it. Then a low, great voice came from the ball of fire, and these were the words it spoke. "I am Oz, the great and terrible. Who are you, and why do you seek me?" Look at that great big old ball of fire up there. The Scarecrow stepped forward and said, "I am only a scarecrow stuffed with straw, therefore I have no brains, and I come to you praying that you will put brains in my head instead of straw, so that I may become as wise as any other man." Next, the Tin Woodman spoke up. "I am a woodman and made of tin, therefore I have no heart and cannot love. I pray you give me a heart that I may be as other men are." And the Lion answered, "I am a cowardly lion, afraid of everything. I come to you to beg that you give me courage, so that I may truly become the king of beasts, as men call me." "Why should I grant you these things?" said Oz. Because of all the wizards, you are the greatest, and alone have power to grant our request," answered the Lion. The ball of fire burned fiercely for a time, and the voice said, "I never grant favors without some return, but this much I will promise. If you will kill for me the Wicked Witch of the West, I will bestow upon you a great many brains, a kind, loving heart, and the courage you seek." I thought you asked Dorothy to kill the witch, said the Scarecrow in surprise. I don't care who kills her, but until she is dead, I will not grant your wishes. Now go, and do not seek me again until you have earned what you so greatly desire. So the lion was angry at his speech, but could say nothing in reply, and while he stood silently gazing at the ball of fire, it became furiously hot, that he turned his tail and rushed from the room, his comrades close behind him. See how the lion is rushing from the room? They told Dorothy of the wizard's command. What shall we do now? Asked Dorothy sadly. There is only one thing we can do, returned the lion, and that is to leave tomorrow to seek out the wicked witch and destroy her.